Oh, hey, what's up, YouTubes? I almost said Facebook. How's it going? Good morning. I'm at work in the car. I just got off the phone with my wife. That's why I'm stationary. Doyle would have you think that this is the safest. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. After a 3-week hiatus, the Orville came back last night, and they refused to let up on heavy-hitting emotional episodes. I think this whole season has been pretty hard-hitting episodes, which is fine. Like I said, I really enjoy Orville. I really enjoy Star Trek Discovery, for that matter. I know a lot of people are either in one boat or the other, and they have a hard time liking things. But the Orville came back, like I said, after 3 weeks off, and this episode had to do entirely with Mocluns. So the crew brought on a Moclun. Was supposed to be like I believe they're supposed to be scientists, and they were going on to a new research study. They had their briefcases with them and stuff, and they were moving into their room temporarily on the Orville until they could get to the ship that was going to take them to their new research site. And the crew noticed that these Mocluns had some kind of energy source that was draining energy from the room, and Bortus had to go kind of figure out what the hell was going on, blah blah blah. Come to discover that the Mocluns were refugees. They were not scientists going on a new research thing, and they were smuggling their child from I cannot remember the name of their planet. It'll be here somewhere. They were from their home planet they told Bortus to a planet where she could live freely. If you don't know anything about Mocluns, they've told everybody, for the most part, babies are born male. They don't have females in their society. They think females are weak and inferior, and if you are born a female, which they say is super rare, you generally go through a process to make you a male. And so this couple are smuggling their daughter because they don't want her to be mutilated and changed, and they're smuggling her to a safe haven on a different planet, they say. And they ask Bortus to not tell anybody, which he obliges, and he fixes their energy consumption problem with some kind of thing, so that the crew isn't recognizing it. And they go off. They reach their ship, and the couple goes off with their daughter that nobody knows about except for Bortus and Topa, his son. So again, if you haven't been watching last season or this season, you know that Bortus and Clyde had a female, and they went through this whole trial because Bortus didn't want his son to be converted, and Clyde did, and it ended up being that was kind of the choice, that Topa would be changed from a female to a male in the show. And so Bortus showed Topa the baby girl in an effort to try and he didn't tell him, but in an effort to try and get Topa to understand that females are not inferior, and they're just like anybody else, and they're to be treated equally and stuff like that. And so they were the only two that knew about it. So the ship came, took them away, and they vanished. And Topa had told Clyde, and then Clyde told the crew. So now everybody knew that these two were smuggling a child across the border, to a different planet. And so they had to go find them to make sure they are who they said they were, that they didn't just kidnap this child. And they end up on a planet that's full of nothing but female Mocluns. Havina, I think her name is Havina. She's an older female Moclun. She tells them, the crew, that there's around 6,000 females in this tribe, and that there are more females born that we just don't know about, that the government on Moclus doesn't tell anybody. So this whole episode is about a fight for these female Mocluns to survive on their own and just be left alone to live their lives. And that's kind of where the big punch comes from, is that there's a trial, because at the end of the day they decide that instead of keeping this a secret and instead of lying and all of that kind of stuff, they want the crew, the Orville, wants to try and make this a sovereign planet so that none of Moclus, none of the government can attack them or change them or imprison them. And so this whole episode at that point revolves around Havina fighting for her rights and fighting for her people's rights to just be left alone, and just, live their lives like they want to without being changed. And so it's crazy and it's funny because on their way to the council to kind of fight for her rights, Havina discovers Dolly Parton. 9 to 5 is the song that she listens to, and that's the patron saint of her fight that she's taking forward, because she doesn't realize that females on Earth had the ability to create art and to do whatever they want to at this point in the timeline. Of course, obviously women here have gone through their own shit as well, but at this point in the timeline, she realizes that women have the ability to do a lot of things on Earth, and she finds a Dolly Parton song, and that kind of becomes the mantra for them to move forward. But underlying all of that is Bortus's continued, and it's played out in a few other episodes too, continued sadness for changing his own son from a female to a male. And Topa, I don't think at this point knows. And there's a little bit of resentment from Bortus to Clyde, because Clyde, I think it's Clyde. He doesn't care. He's kind of set in his way. He's kind of an old timer, and he doesn't want anything to change. And so this is not only a battle with Havina and her government, but also between Bortus and his own people, his internal emotions, because he, at one point, they have to go to the planet where all the females are, because they're rounding up all the Mocluns are rounding up all of the female Mocluns, and they're gonna take them and imprison them. And so Bortus has to decide if he's gonna go help the Orville in a space where he may have to fire and kill his own people, his own Mocluns. And so it's tough. It's a weird decision, and it's hard. And we look at it from an outsider, because we, for the most part, not completely equal, but for the most part, all of us, male, female, gender, obviously we're still fighting and we're still doing some things, but for the most part, we're pretty free to do whatever we want. And watching a whole species like that cull essentially all their females is weird to think about. But it was a good episode. It's definitely it was weird that it took 3 weeks off in the middle of the season to just come back. But it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I like kind of anytime that I can learn a little bit more about the different species that are on the ship is cool. And I think that it does a really good job, like I've always said, of kind of splitting hard-hitting episodes while still being able to infuse them a little bit with comedy and brevity. So it was good. Go check out last night's episode, because it was good. The return to Orville is fun. It makes me laugh. I really enjoy the show. So like I said, I know that some are on one camp of Star Trek and some are on one camp of the Orville, so it's kind of weird, but I like both shows. But go check out last night's episode. The only other thing, I don't know, I'm hooked. I don't know if anybody else is playing Pokemon Go right now. If you are and you want to be friends, leave your trainer tag somewhere down there. I'm about to be a level 22, so I'm not super high up there. But I just recently discovered the game, not discovered, but I recently downloaded the game to my phone. I know it's been around, but I've been playing for a few weeks now. It's fun. I enjoy it. If you're still playing and you want to be friends and you want to give gifts back and forth and trade and stuff like that, I got a little bit of group here at Honda. here at work, and so I'd love to have a few more people. I need some Pokemon that are not necessarily in my region. So if you're playing, like I said, if you want to leave your trainer code there, you're more than welcome. If not, just tell are you having fun playing the game anymore? What have you caught? Blah blah blah. Otherwise, hit us up outsidethelongbox@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 970-573-6148. Facebook.com/thinkingoutsidethelongbox. Patreon.com/TOTLB. At Amazon. Twitter and Instagram at Outside Longbox. Tell us what you think about the Orville, Star Trek Discovery, Pokemon Go, whatever. Let us know what you think. I think I have a couple of more videos coming from the other guys. We'll see. Ramping up into Comic-Con season. We are officially Denver Comic-Con Press again for our third year, I believe. I think this is our third year official. 2 years before that were unofficial, but we were still there covering. So we're going to Denver Comic-Con like normal. Hopefully we can get some big interviews going and prep for that. And you'll probably see a lot more Denver Comic-Con coverage as we kind of go forward. And then that leads us into San Diego Comic-Con. So a lot of cool things coming up. Hit us up on all the stuff that I just told you about. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later.